What is going on, Social Share Club? Travis here, and I've got a special episode, a special guest, Miss Shaylee Edwards, the creator of Habit Book, and some of the amazing things that she's done. And she's going to be dropping some huge knowledge bombs as we jam out through this session. But before I get into this session, I need to share a little word from our sponsors, American Automotive Solutions. So if you need to get your car ceramic coated or need to get a uh, bed protector for your new truck, go check out American Automotive Solutions. They've got amazing deals. You stop in, they are at 1500 Bedford Street, Johnstown, Pennsylvania, and ask for Mike. Mike is a great guy. As a matter of fact, he was just with us last week. So after this episode, go check out Tuesday's episode with Mike Giffen of American Automotive Solutions. And we dropped some huge nuggets over there. But if you are a business and want to understand what your entire digital footprint looks like, I know it can be a lot. Trust me, I've worked with many different companies. Get your brand score report over at trav.media. That's trav.media instead of .com, it's .media. Click on solutions, select brand score report, fill out the form, schedule a meeting with me, and I will be able to help you out. One of my other projects that I'm working on is On Air, the audio-based social media platform. It's going to be super cool. It's really a prized pet project of mine that we are working on. We've done some amazing PR for it with the Pittsburgh Beats project that if you go on my page, you'll see some drummers doing some amazing things. Got some really cool stuff over there. Go over to onair.today and be one of our test users. Without further ado, I need to introduce my special guest today, the lovely, the smart, the kind, the helping Miss Shaylee Edwards of Habit Book. Shaylee, what's going on? Thank you for joining me today. How have you been?
Great. Just like, well, you got me with the intro. Oh man, thanks, Trav.
Mush, that's all right.
Yeah, no, I'm really excited to be here. I love what you're doing. I think it's great to bring people together and share what they learn and what they can offer. And I think it's a really great idea, and I appreciate you doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. Social Share Club is literally created to help small businesses and bring people together and share things that I love to talk about, and it's usually right around building people. You hear business, but it's not. Business isn't business. Business is actually people, and people like yourself who work with other people in business, people that work in business. The gamut, right? So, what was it that really kind of got you, inspired you to even, you created Habit Book. You want to tell us a little bit about, what kind of where you came, what you started in building here?
The Genesis story. And then it's like flashback. It was raining. Yeah, so I guess like most creators, I sort of have a varied path. So I've always been very hot on self-development and trying to optimize my personal performance. I ended up getting a couple degrees in accounting, and I worked in consulting in DC for a few years. And after I lost my sister, kind of felt this push, this urge to really go for what was in my heart, which had always been to alleviate suffering. And I thought, like, I'm gonna do that through like teaching exercise and how to eat healthy. So like packed up my stuff and I went to Miami and I worked in fitness and nutrition for a little while. And while I was there, I just got fascinated with behavior change. It like blew my mind that here were people who really wanted to change, who really wanted something new. And for one reason or another, couldn't get it to happen. And so I started to pull in some of the skills from my prior career, data analysis, strategic planning, business type thinking, to more personal initiatives like, fitness and nutrition. But then that started to expand to emotional intelligence and self-awareness and relationships. And so over the last 5 years, all of the work has sort of culminated to this a toolkit that I can offer now about essentially like how to get unstuck. So if there are things that you want to do, like haven't been able to get off the ground, or you keep doing but can't stop doing, and this might be something like that's outside, like exercise or nutrition, but it might be something that's inside, like a thought pattern or a dialogue pattern. It's just like, it doesn't feel good, but like you can't get it to stop. And so that's how I got here today.
It's kind of getting that can't stop, won't stop type,
Or
loop.
rather like can't start or won't stop.
Yeah. Breaking the chains of habit.
Yeah.
And, creating something that you've never created before.
Yeah.
Writing your own story. And I love how you and I have been working together now for a few months as well, and I can just say firsthand that it's brought me a lot of calm and focus, and being able to, okay, this is what this is. This, let's keep that over there and focus on over here.
Yeah, I think what's really interesting is that when people are uncomfortable internally, so let's say they have stress or tension, they're often looking for things external to them that they can change or manage or prepare to change or control in some way. And so they're thinking like, I can't. If this changes, I'll feel better. If I get there, I'll feel better. If I have this, I'll feel better. And so their focus is largely on like how to like scratch this itch through fixing things outside. And what's strange is actually the way to kind of like scratch it is to change some of the ideas you have about yourself and those things. And the tension and the pressure starts to subside until it's almost laughable. And it really frees you to do the things that you had been meaning to do or wanted to do by achieving those other things. And so I've sort of taken like the force, like willpower out of power, and have made it essentially natural and easy so people can act towards what they really value and what they've been wanting to do, but just have kept hitting resistance or blocks.
So, and really, even understanding what you value, being able to verbalize, visualize, internalize what it is you actually value. A lot of people, they don't even know, they know, right? But actually saying what it is that they want, and speaking that into existence with you, I think that alone is incredibly powerful. But taking that and applying your techniques to it, just incredibly helpful.
Thank you. Yeah, I think people know here what they value, but sometimes they have ideas that are a little bit different. And so maybe what a person really values is a sense of freedom or connection. And they've got ideas about how to achieve those feelings that they just sort of picked up off the news, or they heard in a movie, or it's somebody that seems to be working for someone else. And so they're trying to get to these feelings in these vehicles that aren't theirs. And so just kind of like talking through what you value and why, and really getting to like what's underneath there helps you open up and look for where that already exists in your world. So the bulk of my work initially had been like, how do I get people like the body? How do I get them the relationship? How do I get them the promotion? And over the last 5 years, it's evolved to like, how can I allow for them to feel good now? How can we get them those feelings that they expect to find in those achievements right now? And when we were preparing for this, like I said, like the messaging that I would love to share the most with people who are on the path or just starting the path of entrepreneurship is like, yo, like it's okay for you to enjoy the ride. Like, you don't have to wait till you're successful. You don't have to feel bad about mistakes you've made. You don't need to compare where you are to where anyone else is doing. Like, it's okay. Like, you're okay to enjoy whatever is on your table now, no matter how like dark and dirty it is.
Right. Loving the skin you're in. I think that's a big thing that and under creating, you use the word flow a lot. And what does that mean to you, flow?
Well, basically means so like when you're saying like love the skin you're in, what I find is that people who have had like a lot of pain or have a lot of difficulties, like on the other side of that coin is their strength, is their beauty, is their individuality. But they're so focused on the side that sucks that they don't really make a lot of space to recognize how amazing the toolkit that they picked up from that, terrible situation was, or how incredibly sensitive and attuned they are to this beautiful thing because of some other things that didn't work. And so a flow really is when you take your eyes off the side that's not working and you ask like, what is working? Like, what might be great about what's happened to me? What might have been great about those mistakes I've made? Like, what really, like, what do I have? Like, what do I have? And that little like pivot internally allows for a person to feel good and confident and comfortable and start to take those actions forward and like do the thing.
Yeah. So for people, what would be a good starting tip? I'm just starting out. I'm green behind the ears, and I'm moving with my business. But what are some tips that you would give someone who's just starting out and trying to figure out what their flow is, right?
Yeah, that's a great question. I'd say like the first thing is have a mindset of curiosity. And so there can be a lot of pressure to perform. It's like, I really want to make this dream happen. I know I have this thing in my heart I can give. I know I can make this work. And it's like pressure, 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 pressure. And so that pressure kind of constricts our thinking and also again, like our ability to respond. And so I'd say the first thing is kind of like tweak the mindset so that you're approaching this with the utmost playful curiosity ever. So it's like, what did I do great today? Like, what did I really like? What feedback? Like, let it be fun. And when you're in that place, like that helps you find where you go to naturally. And where you go to naturally and that you love, that's where you're great. And so whatever ideas you can clear off the table to make space to step into what feels good for you, the higher the likelihood that you'll find something to bring to the market that nobody else has done. And it doesn't mean you have to like show up with this brilliant brand new invention. It could just be that you put a little bit more love in the pizza that you're making, or maybe those cardboard boxes that you're offering are you've thought a little bit more through the process, and so you can make it a little bit easier for the client. I think there's a lot of pressure to do something that's like, Bezos provided I changed the way people use crayons. Like it doesn't have to be like, it doesn't have to be that big. Like our impact is really so much more how we feel about what we're doing than what we're actually doing, because that's what's catching.
Yeah. To elaborate and kind of give my own little analogy on that, I think of like a cat playing with a ball of yarn, and you just kind of keep smacking it, and it's like, but it's playful, right? The cat or kitten is play, but eventually that yarn starts to unfold, and whenever that starts to unravel itself, those are the pieces that then you can grab onto. So being able to take enter into a playful mindset, you can then start finding things, that nuggets, that pieces, that especially whenever they're working with you, that you've helped them outline and build on, right? The pieces of the yarn that they can then pull.
Yeah, I think going back to like kind of like ideas as the enemy, we might have an idea that we're wrong if we haven't completed something that we started, but we neglect to consider a larger time frame where maybe that was something that got us to the next leg. But because we think we have to finish this one project, we never start the project that's like right behind that one and like feels better and fits. So when I'm talking about flow too, it's really kind of surrendering to what's working and allowing yourself to trust in a bigger process. And a lot of that again is sort of surrendering the ideas we have. One of the wildest things to do is kind of like myth bust your own fears. So we have all of these ideas around failure and we're like, oh man, what if people think this about me? What if I mess this up? What if? When you really sit down with you and you say like, all right, babe, like, let's talk about this. What are you afraid of? Like, why are you afraid about that? And like, really like be nice to you, like sit down with you and write out all the things, like even the things you think are super stupid and like, you know, you shouldn't be afraid of, but like on some level you kind of are. Like write them all out and get to know them and like really ask like, is this true? And kind of play it the whole way out. In a smaller market like Johnstown, reputation is everything. And that's also a lot of pressure as well. But when you kind of zoom out and allow for reputation to include the process of growth, then hey, it's okay if you like screwed up as long as you keep showing up. That's a great reputation. This person keeps showing up, like no matter how many, like there are so many, again, that would just be an idea that held somebody apart from an action that they would have or could have taken.
Yeah. Um, and realizing, having something that is meant to, people think bigger than just an area, or maybe or than just Johnstown. Some people think globally or nationally. It being not putting limits on yourself, I think is very freeing. Um, but understanding how to you know un, unlimit, remove those limits, remove those speed bumps. It can be very unnerving, very frustrating for a lot of people.
Yeah, and I think this is kind of like the value of what you're providing in a social share club is entrepreneurship is a different mindset. And it essentially means like there's something I can't see and like I'm a go for it anyhow. And people who are working on paths that are already laid out are like, yo, this person is crazy. Like they're where are they going? There's nothing there. And just kind of being around other people who are also like in this space of like, I can't see it yet, but I feel it is really helpful in making it real because then you're talking to the process and then you're engaged in something that is real, which is this process of discovery and growth. One of my favorite quotes ever is, it takes 20 years to make an overnight success. And I think it's so true. And like, it's just showing up. Like if you continue to show up, it doesn't matter how grand your gesture is that day, or if you forgot yesterday, like when it occurs to you to show up, like if you can keep showing up, that's really all it takes. Like you can't help but find gold if you keep going to like the field.
Right? I love that. You can't help but find gold.
Good, because I was like, after I said it, I was like, what does it even mean? But it's true. It's like, I mean, it's there is like there is an unfolding to this process that is supernatural, and it makes sense that for a long time you can't see anything. Like if you think about a seed in dirt, if you think about like a baby, like for a while it doesn't look like what it's going to be, and if you let it just kind of like fizzle as that, like okay. But if you can continue to believe that there is like no matter what you're tending to, it's a smaller version or like a caterpillar version of that bigger thing, like let it always be connected to the dream. It doesn't have to look like that. It could look very much like just Googling something for 5 minutes. It could look like having a conversation. It could look like reading a paragraph about something. It doesn't have to be, again, like this grand gesture where you're registering with like the Small Business Association. Like everything kind of adds up to that thing.
Yeah, it's the sum of all parts.
Yeah.
in design, it's the sum of all parts. There's a term called gestalt, GESTALT. It's all of those little things make the whole, um, and that's really what it's all about. Now, you have some clients that are, there are a lot of pressure. Not just starting out. These people are grinding. Um, that they're anxious, they're under pressure, they're moving. What what kind of advice do you have for those types of people?
Yeah, that's a great question. So usually I work mostly with visuals with people because in these more abstract concepts where we're working on thinking instead of thoughts, it's helpful to have sort of like just something to that's a little more tangible. And so in those instances, I'll generally illustrate sort of the futility of the pressure that they're putting on themselves. Going back to the myth busting concept, a lot of the fears that we have, a lot of the patterns that we've developed for safety and control, like they're Wizard of Oz. Like you throw up the curtain, there's nothing there. And so a lot of the pressure that we put on ourselves, when you kind of sit down with it and you go through like the whys and you let yourself go through a few series of whys, you find that there's nothing there.
Yeah, I like that Wizard of Oz reference. It's kind of, in our own fears, we're like, yeah, pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. Well, the man behind the curtain is just some minuscule thing that we've built up to create Oz.
Yeah, and what's really ironic about kind of like interrupting that pattern is it's not to fight it. Sometimes we think that if we come at ourselves with more aggression, with more force, it'll solve the problem. And so let's say that we notice that we're in a pattern of being afraid of things or thinking about things that we can't control. Our initial reaction might be like, oh, you're being bad, Shaylee. Like, you know better. You need to fix this. You're not doing this right, about how I'm handling the thing. But if you just sort of say like, meh, like this is where we are right now, it kind of collapses the tension into acceptance because you're saying, as I am right now, I'm okay. And so the pressure to change, the pressure to fix is alleviated, which actually creates space for you to do something. And that's sort of what I'm saying about the irony of some of these, like these mental tricks, gymnastics that we do. It's like, oh, if I stay under pressure, then I'll accomplish. If I stay under pressure, then I'll be better. But it's actually quite the opposite.
That is great. Relieving, taking that pressure, being able to just take a breath, take that pressure off of yourself, is incredibly helpful, um, because when you're not focused on the big thing, you're focused on the little things. You know, I always say, whenever I take on a project, how do you eat an elephant? You eat it one bite at a time, um, and being able to break your vision down into manageable steps that you can eat and accomplish, and it enables you to celebrate your wins a lot more effectively.
Actually, I think that's another thing that I've found really helpful with clients over the years is I'll host good job parties and then teach them how to host their own. And the way that we've kind of been conditioned by the world is to look for where things are wrong, where it's not working, where we can be better. And so our mind, that muscle, like the muscle of like, what's wrong? What's gonna break is like super strong. But the muscle for like, where are things good? Where did I do a good job? It's like very weak. And so I suggest throwing good job parties like once a day. Maybe it's in the shower, maybe it's while you're driving to work or driving home, and you be so nice to you and you say like babe, like brag to me. Tell me what a good job you did today. And it doesn't have to be a great job. It can just be like a little bit better or maybe not as bad. and you allow yourself a 2-minute window and really just celebrate all the things that you've done. Like, yes, tomorrow you can do more, and 5 years from now you'll do even more. But like, you did a pretty good job today.
Killed it. You killed it. Do a great job every day. So yeah, I love it. You know, we've been jamming out for the past 25 minutes. We're at the top of the half hour, and if people wanted to find you, where would you want people to message you or reach out or schedule with you? What does that look
Yeah, that's a great question. So I'd say I put the most content out on Instagram. So my username is at Shaylee _Edwards. And Habit Book is my primary business currently. And there we kind of work through some of these things. I call it like more manually, and it's like belief and thoughts kind of like in packets. And so if someone's interested in working with me in that capacity or learning more about that, they can go to habitbook.com. I also rolled out a new program recently that I'm like super lit about, and it's called Hope Rehab. And there is a link to apply to Hope Rehab on habitbook.com. And in Hope Rehab, rather than work with the thoughts, we work in the thinking systems. And so for people who don't have like a lot of time to invest in this every day, essentially like I'll give you visuals and tricks and tools to start to work with your headspace. And under 2 months, you can have a completely different life experience. And this program was super important to me and close to my heart in particular because it started out actually as like a worst case scenario solution where it's like if somebody feels terrible about themselves, hopeless about the world, like that's what I wanted to solve. And that toolkit definitely does that. It puts people who are on the edge of suicide, who are coming off of years of drug abuse, like wild, almost a lifetime of mental discomfort. Like it puts them back in the game. But what I've also found is the toolkit works for really intelligent people who are successful and just can't let themselves enjoy life. So it's this really like ninja type Swiss Army kit, and I'm super excited about it. And if somebody's interested, when they apply on the link, essentially we set up a call. It's about 20 minutes, really casual, easy breezy, beautiful. And after the call, I'll send just kind of like a snippet of the internal leverage points that I see and options to work together if that resonates. And so happy to have that conversation with anybody, anytime, no pressure to go forward. It can just be helpful to hear like, you're not crazy and like things are going to be okay.
So what I got out of that is you can be a ninja.
Of course you did. Yeah.
That is awesome. Well, thank you very much, Shaylee. Um, Head on over to habitbook.com, check out Hope Rehab, and if you haven't already checked out American Automotive Solutions, you can head over to americanautomotivesolutions.net. You want to get your car detailed, ceramic coated, get a new bed liner, ask for Mike. He'll help you out. Get some things touched up on your new ride. But if you are a business and want to know more about your digital footprint, head on over to trav.media, click on solutions, select brand score report, and then enter out the information and schedule a meeting with me. If you want an app tester for the prototype that I built for On Air, head on over to onair.today and select to add yourself to be a tester and leave a review. It helps me out, and hopefully somehow I can help you out. And all of my guests are more than happy to help you out as well in many different ways. So with that being said, I want to thank you for joining Shaylee and I for this wonderful episode. This live stream was just jam session. Thank you, Shaylee. And I want everybody to have a wonderful rest of their Thursday. It is 1/21/21. Not going to get that again. So everyone have a wonderful rest of the week. Take care now.
Have a mindset of curiosity. And so there can be a lot of pressure to perform. It's like, I really want to make this dream happen.
There's an understanding of mental health and well-being that people don't really realize.
Exercise is the best medicine that there is.
You gotta believe in yourself. You gotta believe you can do it. You gotta push. You gotta want it.
Adding to positive conversation and elevating everybody's vibration on some level.
I should have done it sooner because you've taken so much burden off me. You've taken so much time that I've wasted off my plate.
You've got to take that leap of faith and step a little bit outside of your comfort zone.
What is going on, Social Share Club? Travis here, and I've got a special episode. But without further ado, grab the like button.
Invest in your company.